Hey there, my savvy friends. If you're over 65, listen up, because today we're talking about something that could directly impact your health. You might think vegetables are always good for you, but there are some that could be doing more harm than good. Stick around until the end because I'm about to reveal 10 vegetables you should never eat if you want to stay healthy, happy, and feeling your best in your golden years. So, if you're serious about avoiding health risks, hit that like button. Leave a comment with your thoughts and make sure to subscribe for more tips you won't want to miss. Part 1. Nightshades. First on our list are nightshades. You might not think of them as dangerous, but if you're over 65, they can be a hidden health risk. Nightshades include vegetables like tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, both sweet and hot, and potatoes. These vegetables are packed with antioxidants and vitamins, but they also contain compounds that can cause issues for some seniors, particularly when it comes to joint health. The primary compound of concern in nightshades is called solanine. Solanine is a natural pesticide produced by these plants to protect themselves from pests, but unfortunately, it can cause inflammation in the human body. In older adults, this inflammation can trigger or exacerbate joint pain, particularly for those suffering from arthritis or other joint-related conditions. The last thing you want is to eat a meal that leaves you feeling stiffer than when you started. Tomatoes, for instance, are a common source of solanine, and while many people love them in sauces, salads, and soups, they can cause flare-ups of joint pain or discomfort for those sensitive to them. Eggplants are another culprit, particularly for people with rheumatoid arthritis, as they can increase pain and swelling in the joints. And let's not forget about potatoes. While they're a staple food in many households, they are also part of the nightshade family. Potatoes, especially when they are green or sprouted, contain higher levels of solanine, which can irritate your body even more. Now, before you swear off nightshades completely, it's important to note that not everyone is affected by them in the same way. Some people can eat these vegetables without any issues, but for those who are sensitive, it may be worth reducing your intake to see if your symptoms improve. If you experience joint pain, stiffness, or digestive discomfort after eating nightshades, try eliminating them for a few weeks and see if there's any difference. Always consult with your doctor before making major dietary changes, though. Part 2. Raw cruciferous vegetables. Next up are cruciferous vegetables, the likes of broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. These vegetables are loaded with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants, making them a healthy addition to many diets. However, as we age, there are a few reasons why raw cruciferous vegetables might not be the best choice for seniors, particularly those over 65. First of all, raw cruciferous vegetables contain substances known as goitrogens. Goitrogens are compounds that can interfere with the normal function of the thyroid. This is especially concerning for older adults because thyroid problems are more common as we age. The thyroid is a small gland in the neck that controls metabolism, and when it's not functioning properly, it can lead to symptoms like fatigue, weight gain, and sluggishness. If you have an underactive thyroid, hypothyroidism, consuming raw cruciferous vegetables may make it more difficult for your body to process iodine, a critical nutrient needed by the thyroid. For those with healthy thyroid function, eating raw, cruciferous vegetables occasionally is not a major concern. But if you are dealing with thyroid issues, especially those that haven't been diagnosed or managed properly, it's a good idea to cook these veggies to reduce their goitrogen content. Cooking breaks down the goitrogens, making them much easier for the body to tolerate. So, next time you reach for that raw broccoli for your salad or the cauliflower to munch on as a snack, consider steaming, roasting, or sautéing them instead, to minimize the potential risks. Another issue with raw cruciferous vegetables is their fiber content. While fiber is fantastic for digestion, older adults often experience slower digestion and more sensitive stomachs. Eating raw cruciferous vegetables can be difficult on the digestive system and may cause bloating, gas, or discomfort. If you experience these symptoms, it might be helpful to cook your vegetables, which will soften the fiber and make them easier to digest. Part 3, corn. Let's move on to corn. Now, I know what you're thinking. Corn is a classic side dish and a vegetable many people enjoy. However, if you're over 65, you might want to rethink how often you include it in your meals. Corn is a starchy vegetable that can be harder for older adults to digest. As we age, our digestive systems slow down, and we may not process foods as efficiently as we used to. This can lead to bloating, indigestion, or discomfort after eating starchy foods like corn. Corn is also a high glycemic food, which means it causes a rapid spike in blood sugar levels. For seniors with diabetes, prediabetes, or even those who are trying to manage their weight, this can be problematic. In addition, corn is often genetically modified, GMO, which raises concerns about the presence of pesticides and other chemicals. Genetically modified crops are engineered to resist pests, but the chemicals used in the process can remain on the corn and could potentially affect your health in the long run. Many GMO crops, including corn, are also heavily sprayed with herbicides, like glyphosate, which has been linked to a variety of health concerns, including cancer. If you're sensitive to chemicals or are looking to reduce your exposure, opting for organic corn might be a better choice, though it's still important to eat it in moderation. Lastly, corn is difficult to digest for many seniors, especially those with digestive issues like diverticulitis or irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Because corn is high in fiber, it can be tough on the gut, causing discomfort or even exacerbating existing digestive problems. If you've been feeling bloated, gassy, or sluggish after eating corn, it might be worth cutting back and seeing if your symptoms improve. Part 4, spinach. Next on our list is spinach. Often touted as a superfood, spinach does have some great health benefits. It's packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. But for seniors, it's one of those foods that should be consumed with caution. Spinach is high in oxalates, which are naturally occurring compounds found in many leafy greens. Oxalates can contribute to kidney stone formation, especially in people who are prone to them. As we age, our kidneys become less efficient at processing certain compounds, and consuming too many oxalates can increase the risk of kidney stones, which can be incredibly painful and require medical intervention. If you've ever had a kidney stone, or if you know you're at higher risk for them, it's a good idea to limit your intake of spinach and other high oxalate foods, like rhubarb, beets, and Swiss chard. While spinach is incredibly nutritious, it might not be worth the potential risk if you're concerned about kidney stones. Additionally, spinach is a high-fiber vegetable which can be difficult to digest for older adults. If you have a sensitive stomach or struggle with digestive issues like constipation, spinach could be adding to the problem. Instead, you might want to consider switching to lower oxalate and easier to digest leafy greens like kale or romaine lettuce. Part 5, mushrooms. Mushrooms are another vegetable you might want to be cautious about, especially if you're over 65. While they're low in calories, mushrooms can be tough on your digestive system, particularly if you have a slower metabolism or are prone to stomach issues. One of the biggest concerns with mushrooms for seniors is their potential interaction with medications. Mushrooms, especially certain varieties like shiitake, maitake, and reishi, contain compounds that can affect blood clotting. For seniors taking blood thinners, such as warfarin, consuming mushrooms could increase the risk of bleeding or interfere with the effectiveness of the medication. If you're on blood thinners, it's important to talk to your doctor before adding mushrooms to your diet. Another issue with mushrooms is their digestibility. Mushrooms are made up of chitin, a tough, fibrous substance that is difficult for many people to break down. As we age, our digestive systems become less efficient, and this can lead to bloating, gas, or even stomach cramps after eating mushrooms. If you experience these symptoms, it's best to limit your mushroom intake or avoid them altogether. Finally, some mushrooms, particularly wild ones, can be toxic if not prepared properly. While store-bought mushrooms are generally safe, it's Always a good idea to make sure you're getting them from a reliable source. If you're eating wild mushrooms, never consume them unless they have been correctly identified by an expert, as many varieties can be deadly. Part 6. Asparagus. Asparagus is another vegetable that can be tricky for seniors, particularly those with certain health conditions. While it's a great source of vitamins, minerals, and fiber, it can also have some unintended side effects for older adults. Asparagus is a natural diuretic, which means it helps your body get rid of excess water by increasing urine production. While this might sound like a good thing, it can lead to dehydration, which is a serious concern for seniors. As we age, our sense of thirst diminishes, making it easier for us to become dehydrated without even realizing it. If you're eating asparagus regularly, you need to make sure you're staying hydrated, especially if you also drink caffeinated beverages or alcohol, which can further increase fluid loss. For seniors who struggle with urinary tract issues, asparagus could make things worse. The increased urination it causes could exacerbate bladder problems or make it harder to manage incontinence. If you have a history of urinary tract infections, UTIs, or other bladder-related concerns, you might want to limit your intake of asparagus or avoid it altogether. Additionally, asparagus is a high-fiber vegetable, and as we age, our digestive systems can become more sensitive. For some seniors, eating too much fiber can lead to gas, bloating, or stomach discomfort. If you experience any of these symptoms after eating asparagus, try consuming it in smaller portions or cooking it to soften the fiber. Part 7. Garlic and onions. Garlic and onions are staples in many kitchens. But for seniors, they can cause more harm than good, especially when consumed in large amounts. The first issue with garlic and onions is their ability to cause digestive distress. Both are rich in fructans, a type of carbohydrate that can be difficult for older adults to digest. Fructans can ferment in the gut, causing bloating, gas, and discomfort. Seniors who are prone to indigestion or have conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, may find that garlic and onions trigger these symptoms. Another potential issue is heartburn. Both garlic and onions can relax the lower esophageal sphincter, the muscle that prevents stomach acid from flowing back into the esophagus. When this muscle weakens, acid reflux can occur, leading to painful heartburn. As we age, we often experience more frequent episodes of heartburn, and consuming large amounts of garlic or onions can exacerbate this problem. If you're prone to acid reflux or heartburn, try using garlic and onions sparingly or cooking them to mellow out their effects on your digestive system. Finally, for seniors on certain medications, garlic and onions could interact with your treatment plan. Garlic, for instance, is known to have blood-thinning properties, which could be problematic for those on blood thinners like warfarin. Onions, while not as potent, can also influence blood sugar levels, which could be a concern for seniors managing diabetes or prediabetes. Part 8. Beans and legumes. Beans and legumes, including lentils, chickpeas, and kidney beans, are fantastic sources of protein and fiber, but they come with some potential risks for seniors, particularly when it comes to digestion. Beans are notorious for causing gas and bloating, which can be especially uncomfortable for older adults. This is because beans contain oligosaccharides, a type of carbohydrate that is not easily digested by the human body. These oligosaccharides ferment in the gut, producing gas and causing bloating. For seniors who already struggle with digestive issues like constipation, IBS, or a slow metabolism, beans can be hard to tolerate and may cause discomfort. Another issue with beans is that they contain lectins, which are proteins that can be difficult for the body to break down. Raw or undercooked beans can be particularly problematic as they contain higher levels of lectins, which can irritate the digestive system and cause nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea. Cooking beans thoroughly reduces the lectin content, making them safer to eat, but they can still pose challenges for seniors with delicate digestive systems. Beans are also high in fiber, which, while beneficial for many, can be overwhelming for seniors with slower digestive systems. If you eat too many beans in one sitting, you could end up feeling bloated, gassy, or even constipated. If you're dealing with digestive issues or have a sensitive stomach, you may want to limit your intake of beans or choose lower fiber alternatives. Part 9. Celery. Celery is often considered a healthy, low-calorie snack, but it's not without its downsides, especially for seniors. While it's a good source of vitamins and hydration, it can also cause problems for some older adults. 1. Of the main issues with celery is its high fiber content. Celery contains a substantial amount of fiber, which can be difficult for older adults to digest. As we age, our digestive systems slow down, and consuming too much fiber can lead to discomfort, bloating, and gas. If you have a sensitive stomach, you might find that celery causes more harm than good. Celery is also a diuretic, though not as strong as asparagus. This means it can increase urination and lead to fluid loss. For seniors, this can be a problem if you're already at risk for dehydration or have issues with frequent urination. If you eat celery regularly, you'll need to be mindful of your water intake to ensure you stay properly hydrated. Another consideration is that celery is a vegetable that tends to accumulate pesticides, especially if it's not organically grown. If you consume a lot of non-organic celery, you might be exposing yourself to harmful chemicals. Washing celery thoroughly can help remove some pesticides. But if you're concerned about pesticide exposure, it's a good idea to choose organic celery whenever possible. Part 10. Carrots. Carrots are a popular vegetable that many people enjoy, and they're often praised for their beta-carotene content, which can support eye health and immunity. However, for seniors, there are some things you should consider before loading up your plate with carrots. Carrots are high in sugar, and while it's natural sugar, it can still cause issues for seniors, especially those with diabetes or insulin resistance. The sugar in carrots can cause a spike in blood sugar levels, which can be problematic for those managing diabetes. Eating too many carrots could lead to blood sugar fluctuations, making it harder to control your diabetes or maintain stable energy levels throughout the day. Another concern with carrots is their fiber content. While fiber is essential for good digestion, too much fiber can cause bloating, gas, or constipation, especially in older adults with slower digestive systems. If you eat a lot of raw carrots, you might experience these uncomfortable symptoms. Cooking carrots can make them easier to digest, but it's still important to keep portion sizes in check. Lastly, if you're trying to watch your weight, you might not want to rely too heavily on carrots as a snack. Even though they're a healthy option, their high sugar content can add up quickly, leading to excess calorie consumption. Moderation is key when it comes to carrots, particularly if you're concerned about blood sugar or weight management. There you have it, 10 vegetables you should be careful with as you age. The key is moderation and knowing which ones to watch out for. Remember, just because something is healthy doesn't mean it's the right choice for you, especially when you're over 65. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more content that will keep you feeling your best in your golden years. Stay savvy, stay healthy, and I'll see you